Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. We're gathered here today because these protagonists get away with too much. So, we're going to be going over all the crimes of each main character to Until Dawn in every route, and seeing whether or not they're going to be locked away like Ashley. First up isn't really a main character, but she's important, is Hannah. And we're talking about Hannah as a human specifically, and Hannah never really did anything wrong, although she did take part in violation of sepulture, which in summary has to do with desecration of a burial site or dead body. And Hannah did in fact do this when she had dug up Beth from the grave she made for her and then ate Beth. And some of you may come to Hannah's defense and say that she had to eat something, and I've taken this into account. However, since Canada's Criminal Code Section 182B states you can be charged with jail time of potentially 5 years if you indecently interfere with or offer any indignity to a dead human body or human remains, Hannah will be getting at least 1 year in the Blackwood Bridewell due to the circumstances. By the way, since we see that there's nothing left of Beth other than a head, this would imply Hannah ate all of Beth's body from the neck down, including Beth's, moving on. Next up is Beth. Oh, Beth.
Oh, Beth. Oh, Beth. Won't you go off screen and just disappear?
Well, she did nothing criminal, other than being a poorly written character, but she's free to leave. Next up is Matthew Taylor. And unfortunately, this is where we get into some heavy charges. Firstly, he's guilty of revenge porn for recording Hannah taking off her shirt for the prank. Then, we got assault charges from when Matt attacks Mike, destruction of property when he destroyed that door with the axe, and breaking stuff down in the mines. Next is theft in regards to when Matt takes the flare gun from Emily at the fire tower, as that's not legally allowed. Then we have Mr. Taylor's crime of trespassing, because entering an abandoned mineshaft in Canada without permission is illegal and can lead to both criminal and civil charges. And although the defense could be made that the fire tower fell in order for Matt to be down in the mines, that brings me to the next crimes he committed, which happens to be criminal negligence. Section 219 of Canadian law considers reckless disregard for the lives or safety of other people as criminal negligence and can lead to jail time of 10 years. And that's exactly what Matt does by arguing with Emily while she's in danger. Let's say that hypothetically Emily died down in the mines. Then Matt would be to blame, because if he spent less time ranting and more time trying to do something, he probably could have saved her, but his recklessness would be part of why she lost her life. So, he's guilty of that, and Matt will be spending 30 years in the sanatorium slammer. He'll require serious mental help and needs to pay for his crimes.
Okay, next up is Jessica Riley.
The only charges she's guilty of is destruction of property and trespassing. So, she can spend 2 years in the Blackwood Bridewell and share a cell with Miss Washington. Joshua Washington is next, and he could also be charged for animal cruelty for game-ending pigs on the mountain, assault and battery with Trashley, kidnapping or unlawful restraint, reckless endangerment because even though he had no intention to murder anyone, his actions put them at risk, and this could be considered reckless endangerment. Voyeurism for watching Sam in the bath, damage to property of the lodge, which is owned by his parents, not him. Now, even though we can confirm from the events that transpired, he's certainly very mentally unwell, all of these crimes he's guilty of just cannot be excused with a slap on the wrist. So he's getting 45 years in the sanatorium slammer. Next up is Michael Monroe. And Mike is charged with assault for hitting Josh. And for shooting Emily, it's second-degree murder, and manslaughter because believing she was infected when she was not could be considered malpractice. And even if Mike didn't shoot Emily, it'd still be attempted murder. He's also committed arson, which caused damage to property, and setting the lodge on fire can be considered endangerment of human lives, and it carries a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. And finally, trespassing at night being the final charge. With all of that said, Mike is guilty, and unlike Josh, since we have no proof he's mentally unwell, Mike will without a doubt be in the lifetime lockdown with Trashley. Okay, next we have Christopher Hartley. His charges are assault with a weapon due to attempting to shoot Ashley even if non-fatally. He also punched Josh. While an argument can be made that Chris had no choice for the Ashley situation, he knowingly still chose to punch Josh, and criminal negligence for leaving Josh tied up outside where he could have been harmed by wild animals. So we'll put Chris in the Blackwood Bridewell for 6 years because his crimes were worse than Jess and Hannah, but they weren't as bad as Mike, Matt, or Josh, so Chris deserves a second chance in society.
We're at our final 2 offenders. First, let's start with Samantha Giddings.
So while Sam did hit Josh with a vase, this could fall under self-defense. However, Sam does also engage in criminal negligence and arson for destroying the lodge. And she also is charged for trespassing, destruction of property, and breaking and entering. With that, Sam will be sentenced to 11 years in the sanatorium slammer. And Sam very well could have her charges rack up a lot more whenever the sequel comes out. Now, onto the final offender, Emily Davis. You may be thinking that, given the channel name, this means Emily is now off the hook and free to go. And you'd be correct.
Psych!
Unfortunately, Emily will not be shown any mercy either. This is a court of justice. Bias will not prevail here. Anyways, Emily's charges are violation of sepulture when she had found Beth's head, arson, assault for slapping and pushing Ashley, theft for taking the flare gun, and her most serious charge. You see, when Matt and Emily go for a stroll, he mentions how they've both done the deed, but only in his car. Now, how old was Matt when the prank happened? And how old is Emily? This means whether Emily will be charged of being a pepperphile is debatable until we get the exact age of Matt before him and Emily were dating. But I will conclude she's guilty and a groomer, as there's not much evidence that could defend her against the charge, until the developers confirm otherwise. Anyways, that concludes the trials of the protagonist to Until Dawn. And again, once the sequel comes out, I will most likely do a part 2 to this trial to see whose names are getting cleared and who will get more extended sentences.